Amen.
So God says, don't sacrifice your seed. Don't kill your seed. Verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. That's why back in earlier he said, don't look at your uncle naked. See, he's telling us what not to see, so that you don't have that lust. But in his word, he said, now don't lie with a man like you would a woman. That's an abomination. Now I know you might say, well, that's the Old Testament. No, that's New Testament. That's New Testament, Romans 1, 26 through 28. That's New Testament, 1 Corinthians 6, 9. That's New Testament, 1 Timothy 1, 9 through 10. Yes, that's New Testament.
Amen.
As well as Old Testament, because God's plan and will never changes. Verse 23, neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile, I'll skip verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind, it is an abomination. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself wherewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereunto. It is confusion. Sexual sins God's addressing. So men, don't lie down with a man like you would a woman. Don't lie down with a woman like you would a man. Don't lie down with a beast. Don't lie down with somebody you're not married to. God's addressing these sins only after he has addressed lust.
Amen.
Church, if we don't get control of our imaginations and lust, we inevitably act out on what we constantly pour in. You don't stop the acting out until you stop the pouring in. And the reason why this message is so important today is because never in any generation has it been this easy to see stuff you weren't supposed to see.
Amen.
And if it weren't enough that the enemy has made it so convenient for us to see things we shouldn't see, now this world's culture is saying all things acceptable. Not only are they acceptable, take pride in it.
Amen.
Now let's turn over to the New Testament, and I'm going to close here in just a minute. All right? Everybody okay?
Amen.
Now, let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter number 10. And I got to wrap this up here in just a minute. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I am out of time. Write down these verses and go to 2 Peter 2. We'll close there. But write down these verses. 1 Corinthians 10, 6 through 8. That's where it says the Old Testament has given us examples of those that lived in lust and warned us that we shouldn't. And then 2 Timothy 2, 13 through 14 saying, in the last days, seducers will only get worse and worse. So he's telling us in advance that the closer we get to the last days, the worse this is going to get. Now go with me to 2 Peter chapter 2. And we'll start in verse number 2. And it says, and many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken. And there'll be people that say, I'm evil because of what I shared with you today. But I get that because I already read in Revelation chapter 12 that Satan hates those that keep and teach the commandment of God. Now, if we go to verse 5 in 2 Peter 2, he says, and he's referring to the flood. He said, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overflow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly. Well, why did God overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah? Because of homosexuality. Men would pass up women to get to a man. And so God devoured the whole city and said, that's an example to you of how I feel about it. Verse 7, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them and seeing and hearing vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations. You need to know that word right there, that God will deliver me out of temptations. It may be all around me, but I can be in the world, but not of the world. And to